Guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're here for the first time, my name is Esther Aketwame, aka Esther Jean, and I am happy that you could stop by today. To my returning subscribers, thank you so much for always coming back. Even though this channel is not as consistent as it should be. But yeah, I'm glad to be here. I'm glad to be making another video for you today. I hope you're all doing good. For those who are students, I hope the semester is going well for you. For those who are, looking to come in from other countries, I hope your plans are progressing. I actually enjoy being able to help you with the process. So to those who have left comments and sent DMs about how I've been helpful to them, I appreciate the feedback. I am really happy that this channel has been impactful to many of you, and I hope that it continues to be impactful to you. So in the last video I posted, I said I was going to do a part 2 on how to transition into this space as an international student. And today I'm going to be starting with friendship. Sometimes we do not know how important friendships are, so I'm going to be starting with that. So there was something that I heard in church, so during our Sunday school service, we were talking about the man with the palsy that was helped by his friends. If you read the scriptures, there's a passage where Jesus Christ was preaching to a group of people, like a large crowd actually, and the house was filled up, and this sick man needed to have access to Jesus so he could be healed. And his friends were the ones who helped him. They removed the roof, and all 4 of them held like one corner of the bed, of his sick bed, and then they were able to drop him into the room because they didn't have access to enter the room. And I was just thinking about the importance of friendship. Sometimes you think that you can do things on your own, that you're fine, whatever it is, you can handle it on your own, but friends are really important. Imagine if that man didn't have friends who were caring enough to struggle to get him in, to remove the roof, to be able to get him into the house. Like, when you think of that, sometimes we just focus on the miracle that happened. And this day during the Sunday school class, we were actually focused on the friendship part of it. And I was thinking, like, how we talk so much about, having good relationships, having strong relationships. It is important. I know that many times you are told that, when you get here, don't be friends with people from your country, especially Nigerians. They say that a lot. There are many people who are not well-meaning, so you could come here and you could meet some other people from your country who are not well-meaning, who might be selfish, but they are still good people. And so I don't want you to come here with the mindset of, I'm going to be a lone ranger, I'm not going to talk to anyone, I don't need anybody's help. That's not a very good perspective to relocate with, because you need help, you need friends that will help you. I've benefited from good friendships, and so what you should do is to pray for the spirit of discernment, to be able to discern who is a good friend and who is not. So it's very important actually to have friendships, to build connections. And so that being said, try and make friends, okay? Try and make friends. It's important that you make friends. And I'm not saying make friends from your culture only. It's helpful when you have friends from your culture because it helps you to feel connected to home, and they understand you better. But you are here to not just learn, but to also experience another culture. So you should make friends with people from the dominant culture as well. Like, try to connect with them, try to be friends with them, try to talk to them and see things from their own perspective. One day you might have to work in a multinational company, and these friendships you've created, these experiences that you've gotten, will be very, very impactful to your career. So try to make friends, okay? Try to maintain friendships with people from your home country, with people from other countries. Don't think that you can do everything on your own. Even though you are, an independent person and someone who is self-sufficient, it's still important that you try to build connections. The next point is that you should not neglect your old friends. Those people are going to be very helpful to you in your journey. Now, the thing is that if they were actually your friends, you understand? So sometimes some of your friends might, drift away, and that happens. But if you know that you have really quality friendships, try not to neglect your friends. Those friends are important, so try to keep in touch with them. Sometimes you might get homesick, you need to, have that connection to home. Sometimes they still help you with advice. Sometimes even if it's just the gist, the vibes, it makes you feel connected to them. So don't think that because you moved to another country, you do not have to maintain those friendships. Those friendships are important, okay? So the Japa culture, for those who are not Nigerians, Japa means relocating to another country. The Japa culture has, really had an effect on friendships, on family bonds, and you have to be very careful not to fall into that trap. Try to maintain friendships. Friendships are important. Stay close to your family, stay close to your friends. Technology has made it easy for you to be able to do these things. You have group chats, you have the opportunities to do video calls, to do voice calls, and all of that. So try not to neglect those friendships that you've established in your home country. Okay. Also, I would advise you to join organizations or associations. They can be helpful. In my master's program, I joined the Association of African Students, and sometimes we would just, hang out and watch movies together. Sometimes, it could be a Nigerian movie, and sometimes we talk about culture. So they usually had like this presentation where someone would talk about culture, what's going on in Africa, and it was a good way to bond. You were able to bond with first generation immigrants and then people who, just came from their home country, and you exchange, cultural values, you talk, you interact, and it just feels like you have a community. Having a community is important. And so if you can, try to join organizations and associations. You're not only here to read book, you're also here to, learn about a new culture. So try to take advantage of the opportunity. Friendships can be connections. Okay, you might need help with, with getting an internship, with getting a new job. You never know what your friends can do for you. So try and make those connections. Also, it is very important that we discuss this thing. Now, there is this tendency to want to pepper people once you arrive abroad. Okay, so for those who are not Nigerians, trying to pepper people is like, trying to make them envious of you. You're trying to show them that, okay, you've arrived, you are now the biggest babe in town or the biggest guy in town. So the first thing you're going to do is to, like, buy a new car, buy flashy designer things just to show people that you've elevated yourself. Now, nothing is wrong with buying the good things of life and investing in the good things of life, but make sure that you are also investing in yourself. So don't be in a hurry to pepper people. Don't be in a hurry to, show your enemies pepper. Try and invest in yourself, okay? So don't use your savings to pepper people. So when you just come, try and relax, try and invest, try and settle in. You understand? Nobody's saying you shouldn't post, fine pictures, you shouldn't post flashy pictures, you shouldn't post flashy cars. Like, that is up to you actually, but make sure that you have substance behind that you're not just showing things for the gram, but that you actually have substance. So look for ways in which you can invest, look for ways in which you can make money, in which you can improve yourself. If you have to, get certifications, if you have to go for conferences, if there are associations you need to join, those are things that you should be looking out for. You need to settle in first, you need to settle in a bit, absorb the culture, and then you start looking for ways in which you can improve yourself. Okay, so before this video gets too long, another thing I'm going to talk about is looking for ways to connect things from your home country to what you're learning in class. America appreciates diversity. Okay, they want examples from your home country. They want you to be able to apply what you've learned to yourself. So do not be shy or do not be afraid to give examples in class that relate to your home country. Okay, so you could be in a class where they are talking about gender, for instance, and you could be like, oh, this is how gender is perceived in my home country. Diversity of ideas is very important and it helps with learning. If you are able to connect what you're learning in class to your personal life, it's easier to retain. So do not feel like, oh, I'm in America, so I have to look for American examples to give. I have to make sure that everything I'm doing is, in the American context. It doesn't have to be. Even PhD students here do research based on things happening in their home country. So it's actually up to you. I'm not saying you have to only do American things, or you have to only do Nigerian things, for instance. You could find a way to integrate both. So when you are studying in class, think of how these things can be impactful in a transnational perspective. So think about how the things you're learning can be impactful to you as a Nigerian, for instance, and could also be impactful to an American, for instance. So don't feel like you should restrict yourself. A lot of times when you just start school, it might be hard to, keep track. Like you might be in class and people will be giving examples that you don't understand. Please feel free to speak up. Okay, your instructors are there to help you. Feel free to speak up. So if they're saying something you don't understand, like when I just came, someone gave an example in class and said something about, I think, Joule pods, and I was like, what is that? Ask questions in class, and they started explaining what it meant, that it was something people use as an alternative to smoking. So it was a social influence class, and so there were some examples they were giving, and sometimes I would, Google it to see what that example meant. And sometimes you can just ask. So let's say you're in a group discussion. A lot of times they like to put people in group discussions. You should ask them, ask your classmates, oh, what does this mean? What does this mean in an American context? Don't feel like you have to do everything on your own. Don't feel like you shouldn't ask questions. Questions are allowed. In fact, instructors like questions. They like it when you are engaging in the class. So feel free to ask questions when you don't understand things. And feel free to bring things in from a multicultural perspective. It actually helps you to stand out in class, and it actually helps you to be able to assimilate what you're learning better. You're paying fees, you're paying school fees, you're paying tuition. Maximize your fees and ask questions in class. Okay, if there's something you don't understand, ask questions in class. If you feel like, oh, you are too shy to ask questions in class, because it happens when you just come in, sometimes you might be feeling nervous, like, oh, your accent is different, or if you ask questions, everybody's going to be looking at you. That is normal, but eventually you need to work your way towards asking questions, because lots of classes have participation points, and you get points from asking questions and answering questions or just contributing to the class. Another thing I wanted to talk about is learning to use APA. So APA is what most schools ask you to use when you're formatting your papers, and so you can learn to use that. You can buy books, or you can also use online resources, but it just helps to start getting comfortable with it, so eventually you don't feel frustrated when you're trying to work on your papers. If you need help with that, feel free to use the library. Feel free to ask people questions. Honestly, when you're in a new place, you ask questions to be able to acclimatize properly, to be able to understand things better, to get help. Don't be afraid to seek for help. Seeking for help does not mean that you are foolish or that you don't know what you're doing. It actually helps you to gain more knowledge when you seek for help and when you ask questions. This video has gotten really long, so I'm just going to conclude this video with healthy eating habits. The temptation is really high when you come to just eat and eat and eat. Like everything you see, you want to eat. You've been seeing this food on TV and you're like, when I finally land this place, I will eat. It is very normal. But the thing is, be ready to gain weight when you eat like that. The food here is, not always the healthiest. So you have to be very careful. It doesn't mean they don't have healthy food. They have healthy food, but they probably have more junk food than healthy food. So you have to be very careful so you don't start, gaining unnecessary weight. So be careful with what you eat. Try and cook more if you can, try and eat more healthy food. It also helps you with saving money, because if you are eating out all the time, you are going to be spending a lot. You pay tax, you tip the waiter and all of that, so like you're going to be spending more. Meanwhile, if you cook at home, you're going to have food to eat. At home, you're going to save money, and it's likely going to be more healthy than what you're eating outside, right? So this post is not against you eating outside. It's saying you shouldn't have to do it all the time. You should also find time to exercise. Okay, you could go for walks, you could work out at home, you could join the gym. So lots of apartments have their private gyms. The schools usually have gyms. So just try and move around and work out, because the kind of food you're eating here, you need to exercise, you need to move around, you understand? It's just, this is just to help you, to feel healthy. Okay, so it's not about weight. You can be skinny and still be unhealthy. So watch out for what you eat to make sure that you stay healthy, and then try to work out. This is likely going to have a bad day, and I'll try to film it as soon as possible. But thank you so much for watching, for your comments, for your likes, for sharing, and your words of encouragement. I really appreciate it. I'm grateful for the growth on this channel. Thank you so much. I hope you have a beautiful week. If you're yet to subscribe, please do. Remember to like this video, remember to share, remember to tell your friends about this channel. And if you have something specific that you'd like me to talk about, please let me know in the comment section. I want to be able to not just discuss issues that I think are relevant to you, but to discuss issues that are actually relevant to you. So I'll see you in the next video. Take care of yourself and have a nice week.